I'm Coach Mikki, and I'm so glad that you've joined us. And if this is your first time joining us, come on in and make yourself comfortable. For those of you that join us on a regular basis, I'm so glad that you do. Thank you so much for reaching out to many of my guests and making your comments and your suggestions and just kind of connecting with them. I know they appreciate it, and I appreciate it because that's why I do this podcast and this YouTube channel is to kind of help them share their stories and maybe help a little something that you need in your life. And today, I'm excited to have back with me Dr. Melissa Mandala. She has been with us a couple of times and talked about long-term COVID, but today we're going to talk about her plant-based lifestyle, and that's her expertise and what she does. And even for myself, I'm curious about how to live a plant-based lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, right? It's like you see it on labels a little bit more. There's some restaurants and places where they have it on the menu, especially we're blessed not in just the US, but California, certain areas where you can look for that logo, the plant, and that's what the plant-based lifestyle can signify.
So share with us. So if somebody says I live a plant-based lifestyle, let's just start out right off the bat. What is it? What is that?
Yeah, great question. Plant-based lifestyle is not, some people may think, oh, it's somebody who's a gardener or somebody who likes plants, but it's really, really eating healthy plant-based food. So whole foods, straight from the ground, meaning it hasn't been processed or manufactured with tons of solid oils or artificial flavors. It's pure. It's fruits, vegetables, beans, greens, nuts, seeds. It's the whole rainbow of colors that can be on your plate and made into recipes. And really often, sometimes I interview some patients, they've only probably eaten one vegetable a week or one a month. And so my goal is to just introduce these new types of foods and flavors and see how much we can get it on their plate, because the lifestyle is introducing it every day as much as possible, because that's what actually heals from the inside out. That brings down disease, that minimizes medications, decreases weight, helps with energy, focus. There's a whole multitude of benefits from it, but really it's the beauty of it because it's such a pure, whole, complete nutritional product, pretty much from nature.
And that makes a lot of sense because you're not worrying about preservatives, you're not worrying about, antibiotics. The only thing, again, we're going to go down another path here because I'm assuming you're talking about get organic, because one of the things you would have to worry about would be pesticides and things like that. So living a plant-based lifestyle to help you heal from the inside out would also be, taking that stuff into consideration. Am I on the right path here?
Yeah, exactly. It's really hard because in America when animal products or dairy is made, it's just hyper processed and they add a lot of steroids, and that increases insulin resistance and increases growth factors, and the body can that's no longer natural, and the body has all these foreign bodies, including their allergens, whatever they consumed, and then we're consuming it as well. So organic is really the best way. And even if you're not 100% plant-based, at least farm raised, and really getting farmers market food is great. Growing on your own fruits and vegetables, or I have families who have school urban gardens and just sharing amongst family members. I got apples. What do you have? And making a trade there. But as much as a pure ingredients, that's when you're winning.
And that makes sense. So now let me ask you this, because I work with a lot of people, and even for myself, I need protein because I go to the gym and I want to keep that muscle tissue, especially as you're getting older and you're lifting weights. How do you get the right amount of protein from plant-based that you would normally get from like chicken, beef, ground beef, what you would normally eat as to keep muscle growth? How do you supplement that?
Yeah, great question. So everyone always wants to know where's the protein, how much protein I need, because I'm building muscle. I want to stay strong, and really the foundation is that all plants have all the amino acids. They're all complete in itself. So that's if that's the beans, your greens. But if you're just eating fruits every day, it's probably not going to have um, enough protein. So really, a balanced plant-based lifestyle is really what helps. So having enough grains, if it's you can have anything from quinoa to brown rice to amaranth, and then all the types of beans. There's garbanzo beans, there's white navy, as many variety lentils. And so if you have a salad, at least using a couple different grains, a couple different beans in there. Hemp seeds is another wonderful protein. And so you're adding a lot of variety in there. And yes, big part of it is using your muscles. First of all, that's how you become stronger and build up. I was just at F35. It was a gym, and you rotate within stations, and that's just fun, different body groups. And a lot of people ask me, well, do I need my amino acid powders, my loose, my creatinine, and all these things? And those are really more. The studies have shown those are really more for the most, I would say, elite athletes who are exercising all day every day. That's their full-time job. But really, for someone who's a busy person like you may not need all those extra supplements and powders. Really, it's the complete, well-balanced meal that will get you enough protein.
And then, I want to touch on that a little bit because I just read a study that protein powders are not really healthy for you. They have got additives that are in it that just really counteract what your body's supposed to be doing and helping you, not only with the building of the protein, but also some of the additives really cause some serious damage to some of the cells. And so I wanted to ask you, because there is so many different proteins that are out there, protein powders, I see plant-based such as pea powder,
You got it. The peas. It's like plant pea, right?
pea protein powder.
I love that, right? It's just like everywhere. You're like, oh, there's so many different varieties. You check the labels, and you're absolutely right. You're like, do I go for the pea, the soy? Now there's whey and casein. But really, it's what's happening is they're called emulsifiers, and emulsifiers are your gums and your xanthams, and they're even in certain plant-based milk, is they're adding all these things, and those have been shown in studies to increase intestinal permeability, which means leaky gut, because they are additives that are really foreign. Once again, they're not the plant, and so that creates more bloating for some people. That can actually be disruptive to the immune system, just as the lead and arsenic and other things that might be in that same product as well.
Well, the sucralose too. People don't
Right,
understand that anything that ends in ose is a sugar. So,
right.
sucralose, glucose, I mean, all of that, and some of them even have aspartame. Now, I'm not going to go into any certain brands, but my suggestion would be, read your ingredients just like anything else. Or what would be a better way? Like, give us an example. Like, you come back from the gym and you want to make a really strong plant-based protein shake that would help not only build muscle, but put back the nutrients into your body. So what would you suggest to do?
Yeah, exactly. So really, I always have my hemp seeds, my cheese seeds, and my flax seeds. Those are wonderful, not just for building protein, but good for gut health, immune health, even brain health, omega 3s. So that's where the core protein comes in. And after that, if you really wanted some more, you can put some soy, some tofu in there. If you wanted some extra flavor, you can put cacao powder with a date in there, or put some pineapples and mango in there to sweeten it up a little bit. And that's a natural sugar, right? But it's not the other, the ose. It's not the dextrose, where it's a simple sugar where you're basically spiking your sugar so quickly. But no, this is mixed in its natural form, with other fiber, natural fats, like through omega 3s and the seeds, and that makes it really good. So if ideally those types of proteins and seeds, and then your base of fruit, and your another base of your favorite vegetable, if it's spinach, or kale. I get a spring mix that's really easy, and then get a tropical mix from Costco. I'm like very simple: tropical mix of veggies, tropical mix of fruits, and then my core seeds.
That's good. That's good advice. What are your thoughts on almond butter and peanut butters for a protein? What do you think about
Yeah,
that?
Great question. I would say, a lot of if you follow history and even test infants and newborns, a lot of people are still allergic to peanuts, and they tend to have more salt and sugar in, especially like the processed creamy versions out there. So my favorites are going to be pure almond butter or things like nutso with Brazil nuts and other cashews. There's different forms of nuts and seeds because you really want variety and you want some people all they you sometimes we grow up on just peanut butter and jelly, but that's only one aspect to our health. So if you really go for the almond, you'll get higher protein, higher fiber. You'll get less of the other additives when you go for something more pure like that. And literally, there's organic almond ones that you can get. Once again, Costco Sprouts, you name every common grocery store now, they have it.
You've been doing this for a really long time, and I know you've helped a lot of people. So, can you share a story of, without telling a name or anything, what someone who came in that was really struggling with their health that switched over to a plant-based diet that you saw huge impact on their health to be able to benefit?
Yeah, absolutely. I have many patients, but I think the common theme is, most of the time people, there's one patient who just had, overweight and really fatigued, and had autoimmune disease and bloating, constipation. And we went on a plant-based diet, and really sometimes they're like, "Oh, how do I fix my constipation? I haven't been able to poop for a week." Or and I'm like, "Oh, let's eat more fiber." And it starts, I know, coming out right smoothly and surely, just like nut butter. But anyways, I know that's TMI, but literally, that's when I get really happy, and they feel much better when they're adding more fiber. And when they're able to see that, we get really creative. We pick their favorite foods, their favorite vegetables, and make 5 ingredients per recipe, or I help guide them on which restaurants to eat at and maybe which items in a restaurant are a little bit more plant forward, and that allows them to have, literally, they're able to lose the unwanted weight they were trying to lose for years. Their blood pressure normalize, and they're in less pain. And I think the pain is a big factor. When people are in less pain, their quality of life just is better, and they're able to go back to what they enjoy and build that confidence again that it's going to be okay, and they can go on vacation here and there, or they don't have to socially withdraw. Because once again, I think I talked on my last podcast, people can get really depressed and anxious, and with what how they're experiencing their life. So once they see the hope of um, having those small benefits every day, they just want to keep going. Literally, once you see the benefits, there's no turning back.
So that leads me to my next question. Again, these are things that are just popping into my head. So I'm sure, my our circle of friends are probably thinking the same thing. So walk us through how what meat does, because I know meat is not the same as it used to be. Just like flour is not the same. That's why a lot of people are gluten intolerant. I know meats are raised now with these huge antibiotics. If you look at an organic grown chicken compared to something, I mean, the size difference is just huge, no pun intended. So what happens? So what's happening to our bodies recently that are consuming these meats, that all of a sudden switch into a plant-based diet that really makes the difference?
Yeah, great question. And so basically, with animal products, not only do they have higher saturated fat, and that increases cholesterol, obesity, stroke risk, cardiovascular disease, but also cancer risk. And so there's factors that are being released, not just we call it TMAO, and there's NAU. They go into the bloodstream, and they cause not only inflammation, but they're it's in a way where you're just throwing more fire into it, and most people are in homeostasis, but when they start eating animal products, there's only so much the body can with actually fight off, and more studies are showing that the hardest part that I see that it's heartbreaking is high rates of heart disease, also breast cancer, and prostate cancer. These are really high common ones related to red meat alone, and even chicken. And then there's some studies, even one egg a day can increase risk for cardiovascular disease. So it's
So, what do you think actually causes the connection with cancer? Is it the antibiotics that are given to these animals? Like, so how long does, and maybe this is, I'm asking you something that's out of your wheelhouse. So I'm just asking here. When
Sure.
an animal, when animals given these antibiotics, and then it makes it to the grocery store, wherever you purchase your meat from, how long does it take for those antibiotics to leave that meat, or do they never leave that meat? And that's why when we consume it, it seems to transfer into our body. Or am I off base here?
No, no. Antibiotics is a medication that reduces bacteria and viruses and infection. And yes, we're trying to avoid infection and basically sepsis within an animal. So because they can get sick and die, and we don't, they try to prolong a little bit of their life so that they can get a certain amount of size, and then the humans consume them. And so I think your question is, what are the byproducts? What is in the animal products itself that actually is cancerous. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, because people that are eating meat compared to a plant-based diet, I'm just trying to get an idea or an outline of what's happening with meat that causes, like you said, breast cancer, and these things that cause leaky gut and other things that are within our that change our molecular structure to cause all these problems. So, because I know that's going to be the first thing people will go, well, how does meat affect me? Why should I change to a plant-based diet? So I think having that knowledge can really solidify why plant-based is so much better for you. Now I'm all about that, because I truly believe that we're just a molecular organism. We're made up all these cells, and so why wouldn't you eat things that are going to feed those cells? And I know that a lot of plant-based offers everything else. So what is it? I mean, and again, if it's something that's not in your wheelhouse, I totally understand. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, great question. And you know, when we have to go back to the source, right? Not only the source of what they're feeding them, is it these GMO modified, like, what kind of corn, what kind of meals are they eating? Is it, and is it's all going to be altered in a way it's not a pure food. And so, imagine giving your own, and I hate to say this, imagine giving your own dog, would so you can tell what's quality versus unquality food, foods that you want to give, like what kind of pet foods are out there. But when you start giving foods that are genetically modified already, that's one trigger. And then another trigger is the fact that when it hits the gut itself, it's not it's foreign. It's gonna be angry. It's not gonna want the actual animal products that could have the antibiotics or the actual, and I don't want to say it's out of my wheelhouse, because it's more of the, if we look at cohort studies and the risk factors, it's an association that they build, and the actual, if you look at the gut microbiome, what happens there, that's where we see is, because when there's a lack of not just fiber that you get from plant-based foods, and you have increased animal products, which is not just the saturated fat, but the chemicals within, that's what really gets them into having a pro-inflammatory disbalance, dysregulation in their gut. What I think would be clear is if I send, there's about 5 or 10 specific mechanisms, and I would say components that I can share in a link, because it's one of those things that may be over everyone's head. So I don't want to overwhelm you.
Well, no, it made sense what you said, because if the animal's eating a genetically modified grain, or a filler or something else, and they're given all these steroids, and then now they come to the grocery store, and then we're consuming it. Obviously, we're eating whatever that animal is eating, which makes sense even for us. I mean, whatever we're putting up, like you said, you want to go for organic, you know, uh, fruits and vegetables and things that are going to be the less things that we put in our body that don't work for us, such as, pesticides and all that, the better off your body's going to have an opportunity to not only heal, but also when those cells regenerate with a strong ability because it's fed the right thing. Because whatever you put in your body, you're feeding. I mean, it goes back to you are what you eat. If you're eating good things, you're going to have a good, strong body. If you're eating just sugar, well, we know sugar just doesn't, really takes a toll on everything on your body, everything.
Right, and the World Health Organization classifies red meat as a type 2 carcinogen, and that's really, bold because there's tons of evidence that it is pro-cancerous. It's really, especially when you grill it and fry it, it's you test it at a molecular level, and you can see how this actually increases cancer angiogenesis, which means more tumor growth and blood vessels where you don't want them to go, and growth factors that are out of control. So that's where cancer comes from. It's dysregulated growth, and you have tumors that you don't want.
Well, yeah, and that makes sense. So going back, so walk me through what a day in your life looks like with a plant-based diet. I mean, and I hate the word diet because it should be the lifestyle. I mean, everything we do is should be a lifestyle, whether it's exercising. Your lifestyle is the same thing. It's habits. So walk me through something that would be really beneficial that someone could take away from today. Because, well, first of all, let me back up. I really highly recommend that if you are at a point in your life that you want to make a change and you're struggling with this stuff, please reach out to Dr. Melissa. She is, as you know, a plethora of information. She can help you with all kinds of stuff. And again, all the links will be down below. And then if you're listening to the podcast, I'll have them all embedded into the podcast too, because she does work virtually, and then she can also help you in person. Because your places are where they're in Newport, and where's the other one? You got two of them, right?
Newport's the main one, and
Okay,
then
Newport.
everything else is virtual. Yeah.
But for the rest of the world, if you don't live in Newport, you can contact her
Oh
virtually.
yeah, everything is. I know, right? People could drive from all over and fly from all over, so it's just an honor to see everyone
Well, there you go.
either.
There's your healthy vacation. Come to sunny California and
Yeah,
get your health in order. I'm good. I'm up for that too. That's good.
yeah,
It's emotional and physical.
right.
So
Get a retreat out here.
that's right. That's right. So walk us through a day of what it's like to do a plant-based lifestyle.
Yeah, it's really one step at a time, and starting at looking in your pantry and figuring out what you already have. Because most of the time you may have a few familiar things. Like some people just love their tomatoes, and lemons are great. Start having more lemon squeezed in your water, lemon squeezed on your salad, or you might have some greens, but instead of waiting till the end of the week and having them rot because we forget about them because they're tucked away, bring them closer to your eye level view so you can see them and start chopping them up so you have little bowls ready to eat of either veggies or things you can roast or things you can add to your soups. So literally, I my goal is to make it really realistic and make it fun and enjoyable. If there's some of your favorite recipes you already make or things you've eaten at a restaurant. I had one patient who told me he has someone with ADHD. He's on the standard American diet, wakes up at 5 a.m., isn't home till 8 p.m. And he's all, just tell me where to eat because all I know is peanut butter and jelly, and maybe a tuna sandwich. And I said, okay, let's go. And so literally hummus and carrots for snacks. That was a good first step for him in finding the healthier types of breads when you're at the grocery store. So I really go in there and go into the weeds and make it really something that you can do on a day to day, and tying it into your health condition. Why is it so important? Because everybody has probably heard this in one shape or form, but knowing the why it's connected to your blood pressure, your hormones, your post COVID, your mood. What does it really do, and how can we start minimizing your medications? And does the supplement, is that really something fit for your own health condition? That's what I'm going to do. It's really the art and the magic, as we work together. And so on my day to day, literally, I'm not only having some smoothies and soups, I have roasted veggies and salads, but I really still love I can make some like orange tofu. Like I used to love orange chicken, right? So I'm gonna make something I love. And and making it enjoyable. And maybe you're not going to go 100% plant-based, but even doing 25, 50% is still a long way. So I help you get there, and you'll get to see some really great results on your labs. And that's where we want you to see. So you can also feel it and know it from the inside.
I love it. Yeah, I think whatever you're offering is definitely going to be beneficial, and for a lot of people that are listening. Because I know even for myself, there are so many people that deal. They're struggling with their weight loss, they're struggling with their blood pressure, diabetes, and again, that's another whole podcast that we can do in regards to that. But I mean, in your expertise and what you've seen, I mean, have you seen a huge difference from people going from plant-based a plant-based lifestyle to what they have, all of a sudden seeing a significant change that has helped them, either alleviate a lot of these symptoms or take them away, or even just get to a point where they're now living such a healthier lifestyle that they're living their life again, I guess. That's the question.
Yeah, great question. People who have a plant-based diet typically are in the normal weight range, and maybe some a little bit overweight, but we're doing a little bit of tweaks. So immediately at least 5, 10, 15, 20 on average weight loss, and that normalizes blood pressure. Um, most of the time, it's really like there's not many medications can do that can one lifestyle that treats all these medical conditions. When you go into traditional medicine, you get 10 medications and one for each thing. So the beauty of it is when you eat plant-based too, your sugars are going to be a lot lower, where you don't have to be in the 200s and 300s. Usually the average is, around low 150, 120s, 130s, but usually under 100. And that's really healthy for you. And most of the time, people have less pain and inflammation, less PCOS. If someone has that, less painful periods, less acne, and really less bloating. And as I mentioned before, some people have issues with their stools too, so that normalizes. The power of plant-based and fiber and the variety you can get is huge. And so when you incorporate these new foods, you're going to see a benefit literally, I say from head to toe and the inside out.
I love it. I love it. Well, I could sit here and talk all day, and I'm sure our circle of friends have got a plethora of questions. So that's why I love having you back, because so many people struggle with what you were talking about, and I really think that they should reach out to you because, you know, throwing a pill at something is just a band-aid. It's like putting a band-aid on a broken leg. It's not going to fix it. You have to really look at what's the underlying cause and address it from there. And I truly believe that figuring out our food is huge. I mean, we eat it every day. That's the most common thing we do every day is eat. But what are you feeding? So I love this. So again, I'm gonna let you finish off this. So how can people contact you? And again, everything's gonna be down in the description and it'll be embedded in the podcast. But go ahead and give a shout out for those that are listening.
Yes, and I love Coach Mickey. You walk the talk, and you're active, eating well, and it's just a synergy. And I would love to, anyone who's curious or even skeptical, give me a call. I do meet and greets. I just want to hear you out and see what the questions you have. Listen to your health goals, and we'll go from there. Literally, it's drlifestyle.org is where you can make an appointment, and I on all time zones you will make it work. And then Dr. Melissa's Kitchen is where you can find me on Instagram, on YouTube for recipes, and then also I'm on Pinterest and other places. Dr. Melissa Mandala. I have websites, resources with more documentaries. Have lots of guides to get you through. Even a small jump start can get you going.
Oh, I love it. You know what? I would love to have you back and let's do some of your cooking. Wouldn't that be
Ah,
fun?
oh, that's
I would
fun.
love
Let's
that. Wouldn't that be fun? That way we
go.
can we can learn how to cook in a healthy lifestyle.
Oh yeah, just give me either start with one ingredient or a theme. I'm there. I love cooking. I
I
really
love
miss
that's
it.
so much fun. That would be so much fun. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being with us. I am glad that you join us each and every week. Thank you so much for reaching out to my guests. I know many of you have commented on some of the other YouTube podcast that we had here with Dr. Melissa, and I'm excited to have her back on again. For those of you that are struggling with stuff, please, please, please reach out to her. I know she can help you. I know she can. I know just from the questions I've asked her and from me having her on as my guest, I've learned so much, and it has really made a huge difference in my life. So please do. And I will look forward to seeing you next week. And until then, see ya.
Bye. Thanks, you all.